Welcome to Pathways to Success, a program that supports our micro, small, and medium enterprises here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Great things are happening in Philippine gymnastics, especially after Carlos Yulo's historic 2 Olympic golds in Paris. This achievement has truly put the spotlight on the sport's bright future in the Philippines. At the front line of this excitement is the Learn and Train Sports Academy, or LTSA, pioneering the development of young Filipino gymnasts. With its state-of-the-art facility and advanced training programs, LTSA is setting new standards in the sport. From building discipline to providing top-notch training, the Academy is making a real difference for the next generation of athletes. Today, we are excited to have on the show Sid Tayag, the Managing Director of the Learn and Train Sports Academy. Hi, Sid. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Mai. Thanks for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Okay, it's good to have you because, well, as the whole country is still on a high after that historic win by Carlos Yulo, everyone's inspired. And first, tell us about the birth of your academy. How did it all start and what inspired you?
Well, it all started because of the pandemic, actually. My daughter's a gymnast, and at that time, there was really nowhere she could go because of restrictions that were placed on young kids. So I thought maybe I want to try doing something for her and her friends because they were suddenly displaced from training every day to all of a sudden not having anything to do. So I was able to find the space and just everything came together, and that's how it started. We opened our Makati branch the minute they lifted restrictions for children. So February 2, 2022.
Yeah. Wow, and 2 years old,
yeah,
right?
2 years
Your
old.
Camp. So tell us, what are really the key factors in honing our athletes into building them into world-class gymnasts?
I think first of all is you have to have good coaches. That's really key to it all. The coaches, we need to invest in their training and they have to know the newest techniques because it's an evolving sport. So it's very technical, there's biomechanics involved, and especially now with the focus on mental health, they have to also be aware of that, safe sport. Second, of course, is the facility. You have to have the proper equipment, spring floors and up-to-date equipment. That's for safety. And third, you have to have kids who have the passion for it. You have to find the kids that are passionate, and you have to find parents who will be supportive of the dreams of their kids as well.
True. And seeing the achievement of Carlos Yulo, you just wonder,
amazing.
Wow, I mean, the grit, the discipline, and the strong mental attitude, right? So how do you inculcate these qualities into your kids' training at your camp?
Well, in LTSA, actually, our first, we have our mission and our vision is, of course, to develop gymnasts. But first and foremost, we want it to be fun. We create a fun, safe environment. That way, the kids will really learn how to love gymnastics, because in the beginning it's all fun, they're with their friends, but as the training gets harder, there's more physical demands, mental and emotional demands. So we always like them to remember that once upon a time they loved gymnastics so much, so we really try to make it fun for the kids. That's how we really get them to have longevity in the sport.
Especially in young children,
yes,
it should still be fun.
Yes, exactly.
And also, as they go along, they should be reminded why they love the sport.
Exactly.
Okay, so what are the specific trainings that hone these qualities, the grit and the mental acuity?
I think first of all with gymnastics, it's very structured. So, we little things like we have little rules in the gym. You have to salute to the coaches and you have to be respectful of each other. We also inculcate discipline in having the kids clean up after themselves. So when we use equipment, we have them pack it away, from the small kids all the way to the big kids. And you see them all helping each other move the balance beams around and move the blocks around. And then also competition, actually. It really develops discipline and grit, because to be a 6-year-old standing in the middle of a 12 by 12 meter floor with everyone looking at you is not an easy feat. So that's also how we develop grit in these kids.
Okay, let's talk about more about your state-of-the-art facilities. What specific programs do you have?
So we have different programs at LTSA. We have the recreational program because I strongly believe that gymnastics is the best starter sport. If you do gymnastics, you can just do anything because it develops balance, it develops your core stability, it develops coordination. But then we also have, of course, for the more serious kids, our competitive track. And then for the really serious kids that we've identified as talented, we have what we call our Future Internationals program, and that's our advanced program where we have right now 20 kids that we're trying to develop for the national team, and some of them are already currently in the training pool of the Philippines.
How many coaches do you have, Sid? And tell us about your coaches. What background do they have?
We have about 16 coaches right now, and collectively they have probably like 60 years of gymnastics experience. All of them are they're all former gymnasts, some of them on the national team, some of them were national team coaches, but we continue to develop and train by inviting foreign coaches to come and hold seminars. We also currently have one foreign coach right now on our staff. And it just helps with the exchange of knowledge, exchange of techniques. So we try to send our coaches out to training camps, and we also invite foreign coaches in to train the rest of our coaches.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, you know, gymnastics is still seen by some as an elite sport, right? Because of its costly equipment, costly training, maybe. So how do you help our aspiring gymnasts in those less equipped areas?
What we do in LTSA is we try to reach out as much as possible because we know that aside from the equipment, it's really finding the space. The footprint you need for gymnastics is quite big. It's 1,000 square meters. And that's like a lot of space to be paying rent for regularly. But we have an LGU assistance program. So we donate equipment when we can. And whenever we have things like Palarong Pambansa or Batang Pinoy, we allow LGUs to come and train at our facility for either free or a very discounted cost. And we also have our coaches sometimes go to different LGUs to do training there. They help out when they can. So we try to give back as much as we can because we all love this sport.
Well, we know that in gymnastics you have to start at a young age, but is there an age restriction when enrolling in your camp, and what are the other requirements?
In my gym, we accept kids as young as 2.5 in our toddlers program.
Wow,
so that's like a mommy and me class, But I don't think there's any real age when you should start gymnastics. It's really a question of how ready the child is. You could be 4 years old and physically, mentally, emotionally ready, and sometimes you won't hit that till you're maybe 9 years old. So what we do is we just wait. We try to see where the kids are at, and we don't try to push them too hard, and we try to help them develop as best as they can, because after gymnastics, we still want them to be good human beings. That's really like one of the important things that we do, is we want to train them for life in general, not just for gymnastics.
True. And it's wonderful to see these kids training when you're showing the video of the children, right, training in your camp. Well, we have to pause for a short break. Up next, what are the long-term goals that are important in sports development? And is the Learn and Train Sports Academy committed for the long haul? We will find out when we return. Stay with us on Pathways to Success. Welcome back to Pathways to Success. Still with us is Sid Tayag, Managing Director of the Learn and Train Sports Academy. Now, Sid, you started the camp just after the pandemic. It was February 2022, and back then the restrictions were just starting to ease up, right? But then your kids, like you were saying earlier, they had masks on. How did you hurdle the challenges back then?
Well, it was really a challenge because we had to, first of all, comply with all the restrictions of the city. So we had limited capacity. We had this big 70 square meter space with only 10 students because we had to have social distancing. The gym is open, so we had all the windows and all the doors open, and all the kids had to wear masks and all the coaches had to wear masks, and we just had to comply, and we just had to be very lenient about absences and the minute someone had a cold. So we just had very strict COVID protocols in place.
Yeah, well, and the LTSA caters to both beginners and also to the elite competitive athletes already, right? So how do you cater to both, to all those levels?
We have different teams of coaches in different programs. So for the recreational programs, that's really just a fun program, and the kids come in for maybe 1 hour to 75-minute classes. And then as they progress, if they join our competitive track to the elite, they're required to train anywhere from 3 times a week to our most advanced girls train 6 times a week for 4 to 4.5 hours a day.
Wow, so much training.
Yeah,
so how many kids are now enrolled in the training camp, and what kind of growth have you seen in those 2 years?
We have 2 branches now, 2 main branches and 1 satellite branch. So the 2 branches are full facilities, one in Makati, one in San Juan. And the satellite facility is inside Colegio de San Agustin. I would say collectively across the 3 branches, we have over 400 students right now. The growth has been exponential, actually. It's very surprising because when we first started, it's a business. Owning a gymnastics facility is a business. Yeah. So we had, of course, our business plan, and we surpassed expectations, I would say, because I was very surprised by how many people were interested in doing gymnastics. And up to now, every day we have a lot of inquiries, especially after the historic win of Carlos Yulo. It's tripled. So I think it's good for the industry as a whole. So I'm actually hoping more gyms open across the country so that we can give more opportunities to many kids.
Okay, we'll talk more about the prospects for growth in a bit, but I want to ask you about maintaining the safety and effective training. Of course, those are priority, right? So how do you keep to the safety standards and quality training?
So we work with our supplier for equipment, for example. We bought our equipment from Canis Sports, which is owned by the holding company that also owns Gymnova and all the other big equipment suppliers. And there's very open communication with them, so we're able to call them and ask them about the equipment, if there's something that we need to change and whatnot. So that's one, investment in the equipment, teaching the coaches how to take care of the equipment, teaching them how to spot potential injuries with the kids, and the limits that they can do so that they don't overburden the kids. And we also have a PT on staff. So for even the smallest injuries, like little kids will be like, my finger hurts. The PT will look at it just to make sure it's nothing serious.
Okay, so can you share with us your notable achievements? Because I know you have competed in international competitions. So how have these achievements affected your standing in the gymnastics community?
We're like the new kids on the block. We're the newest gym, but I think we have done pretty well for ourselves. We have kids who have become the Batang Pinoy champion, Palarong Pambansa champion, NCR champion, and internationally we've also won all around in various competitions in Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand. So we've been doing really well, and I think it's because of the passion that our whole community has, because our gym is not just a gym, it's really a community. The parents, the coaches, the yayas, everyone. It's everyone.
It still takes a village.
It really takes a village, and it's really nice to see, like some of the moms when we go to these international competitions, they will wake up early, even if their child's not competing, so they can braid and fix the hair of the other kids competing. And then if someone is not at the gym, they can call the other moms and say, please make sure my daughter has dinner, things like that. So it's a really great community, and I think I think that's really what's made us successful, and that's what's made us stand out.
Yeah, and very impressive being the new kids on the block. Okay, let us pause for a short break. When we come back, we will explore the challenges facing the Philippine gymnastics industry and the support for our athletes. Stay with us. Welcome back to Pathways to Success. We are still with Sid Tayag of the Learn and Train Sports Academy. Now, Sid, let us talk about support for our athletes. Of course, the support is crucial for the development of any sport here in the Philippines, right? So what kind of support, both from the local government or the government, the national government, and the private sector are you getting for gymnastics?
For gymnastics, the association, the Gymnastics Association of the Philippines, or GAP, they're actually very, very supportive. We're a member of GAP, and they really helped us a lot. But there's really just not enough funding to go around for all the sports. And I think the PSC, the POC, GAP, and all the other NSAs, they try what they can, but there's really just never enough money. And so that's where I think the private sector comes in. So there's also a lot of support from certain entities who've supported gymnastics ever since. Carlos Yulo's success was really a marriage between public and private support from different sectors. And we see the same thing in our gym because we also have a lot of support privately from the parents, but of course, and we're a private gym and we're trying to do what we can. So we are actually still part of the private sector trying to give back to gymnastics in the community. So
but essentially funding is still the problem.
Funding is the problem, and really finding funding because you also need money to do everything, to train the coaches, to put up the facility, and to get the judges and the technical officials accredited. Everything just costs money. So that's really at the end of the day the biggest challenge I think we have with sports in general in the Philippines.
Well, let's go back to Carlos Yulo's historic win. Everyone is inspired, and you can see it in our young gymnasts. So it has really brought a lot of excitement, no? So tell us how now the impact of that win to the overall growth of the sport.
I think right now people see that gymnastics is a sport where we can succeed in the world stage. And what Carlos Yulo has done is to really give hope and inspiration to a lot of kids that if he can do it, I can do it too. You know, it's not like it's a dream that's achievable now. It's a goal. It's no longer a dream. Now it's a goal. Like before, it was my dream to be the Olympics. Now they can say, my goal is to be in the Olympics, just like Carlos Yulo. So he's really provided that sort of inspiration to the kids. So it's really amazing that he's a homegrown athlete. Such a nice guy, so humble, really an inspiration.
Yeah, and even adults are inspired. You told me there were enrollees who are grown up already.
Yes, so we have an adult gymnastics class at LTSA, and we have a solid group. They've been going ever since. But I was surprised Wednesday when I was at the gym, there were 7 or 8 new enrollees, and it was all because of the Carlos Yulo effect.
Wonderful. So, but how does the training here in the Philippines compare to those in other countries?
I think the main difference is really that in other countries, they have more established programs because they just have been doing it longer, I suppose. In the Philippines, we're really doing the best we can, but we just are still, I would say that gymnastics as a sport that's being considered seriously is still in its infancy. So in other countries, they have, a lot of support in terms of the programming, technical testing, things like that. But we're getting there, and the Gymnastics Association is really doing a good job of trying to train the coaches. They're doing a lot of camps and things like that.
Okay, so tell us how, for those interested, tell us how they can enroll and train in LTSA, and how do they contact you?
The best way is to really follow us on our socials, Instagram and Facebook, and they can send us a message there, and all the contact details are there of how to get in touch with us.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Sid,
Thank
for your
you so
time and
much.
for sharing your story and how to build our future champions.
Thank you so much. It was nice to be here.
And that is our episode today. To everyone pursuing your dreams in gymnastics or any sport, stay committed and keep pushing your limits. I'm Mai Rodriguez. Thank you for watching Pathways to Success.